So Scott is one of the finalists in our 7 Millionaires in Training program, and he's in the medical profession. Scott's very interested in growing quite a high net worth in quite a short space of time. And he asked the question, which is, as a professional, can I make large amounts of money? So for example, can I make something like $10 million in 10 years? Well, here's a surprise for you. Most people think that high income equals wealth. So therefore they think that professionals who by definition earn a fairly high income, some are very high income, some an average income, but most are high to super high income, must therefore be wealthy. And I'm sad to have to break the news to you, but professionals are generally the least wealthy people around. Well, it's not quite true. Some of them are quite wealthy, but some of them are also very unwealthy. And if you want a good example of that, I'll put an example in my post from the Millionaire Next Door that talks about two doctors, both earning $700,000 a year, both surgeons, $700,000 a year, and one is, as you would expect, wealthy, but the other one is basically broke. And the reason is this: our spending habits know no bounds. So if you're a professional earning high salaries, you're going to be living in the best suburbs, driving the best cars, living in the best houses, paying the highest property taxes, or sending your kids to private school, or doing what we're doing, which is doing both. We have one child in private school, one child in public school by his choice, otherwise he'd be in private school as well. And we're also living in one of the best public school areas of the USA and paying $33,000 a year in land taxes. So if between our children going to private school and land taxes, we're paying about $50,000. That's after tax. Now the land taxes are partially tax deductible, but certainly not $33,000 worth. I think they capped the tax deductibility at $4,000 or $10,000. So we're basically having the net $50,000 a year just to pay for land taxes and education. And the professional's biggest expense is actually tax, not just land taxes, but tax on their incomes, because they can't hide from the IRS. There's nowhere for a professional to hide their income. So professionals are taxed some of the highest tax people in the USA, and certainly this is common across the world. So moving to Australia or the UK, or most places in Europe, certainly won't help you if you're a professional. So the issue for professionals then is they're spending so much and being taxed so high, how much do they really have left over to invest? And the reality is a professional lives one of four ways. If they don't do anything like that second millionaire in the Millionaire Next Door and just spend their money because they've got a high income, they're technically broke. Because the day they stop working is probably the day that they get booted out of their practice with very little money, and they can no longer maintain their lifestyle, which is tragic, because any lifestyle is very hard to change. On the other hand, they might be a smart professional and be saving some of their money, and certainly if a high income person is saving 15 or 20% of their income regularly as they should be, maybe they'll save themselves $1, $2, $3, or even $4 million over a 20 or 30 year working life. So if they retire at 65, they may very well have a 401k equivalent, probably a Roth IRA of some sort, with maybe $3 or $4 million in, which is certainly a lot of money for anybody. But at 65, think of what $3 or $4 million will buy you. Probably won't go anywhere near to replace their salary. On the other hand, if the doctor's even smarter, he'll invest some of that money in real estate. Maybe he'll buy the practice that's under his building. Maybe he'll buy other commercial or residential real estate and start really investing heavily into real estate, as much as his income as he can afford. That doctor may be worth, because real estate tends to compound at 25 or 35%, which is twice what the guys saving their Roth IRA investing in the stock market will get. So they may very well end up with $4, $5, or even $6 million. Maybe much sooner than 65. Maybe they can retire at 55 with $3, $4, $5, $6 million, which is nothing to sneeze at. But our friend Scott, wants to be super high. He wants to have $10 million in 10 years, which is certainly a worthwhile goal. It's almost the name of the blog, which is 7 million in 7 years. So I believe it's doable. In order to do that, Scott, if you work backwards, if you start off with $100,000 to grow $100,000 into 10 million in 10 years. If you do the mathematics, it's very simple in Excel to drag a spreadsheet and do that. Works out to a compound growth rate of 67%. Now, there's only one place I know of that you can get a 67% compound growth rate. It's not in real estate. It's not in running your professional practice. It's not investing in the stock market unless you take super chances with stocks and options and trading and all that sort of stuff. There's only one place, is to open your own business. And the type of business you need to open is something that can generate an awful lot of income, probably more than a professional practice can generate, or that you could be lucky enough to IPO like the next Facebook. Now, if you do open up your own business, to make sure you get that 67% compound growth rate, I would then invest as high a percentage as possible, maybe 50% of my income, into real estate just as a backstop. So, Scott, if you want to make $10 million in 10 years, it's not going to come as a doctor or a lawyer. It's going to come in some sort of business that may support those professions, maybe an invention that you have as a result of those professions, maybe some software create to help those professions, or maybe in some other field entirely. Get your thinking cap on. I'm going to call this video, I think,